You look really depressed today. That's going to make this so much harder.
Anthony, don't fire me.
Oh, Mark, the 1300s, they're so boring. And the last two scripts you turned in were depressing.
They were about the Black Plague. It's the 1300s. What am I meant to write about?
It's not totally your fault, Mark. You got stuck with a tough century.
No, I can make it work.
Mark, just give it up. Nothing new is going to have happened in the 1300s. At Lecture Films, we just want to take the big-name readers of the day and have them read the stories that people know and love. I'm having... You mind if I'll come back and do this tomorrow?
Oh, wow.
No, I just got nervous about firing. I just don't do well with confrontation. Hey, maybe if I just sleep on it.
Well, then I'll be thinking, will he fire me, won't he fire me?
You're fired.
I am fired, yeah? Because I sort of...
You're fired.
Yeah.
Mark, I woke up this morning sober and realized that while I did enjoy your company, based on your looks, your financial situation, and your position in life, I have no interest in you romantically. I'm just too far out of your league. Anna.
Oh.
Is that because you just got fired?
And I just got an email from a woman who...
Yeah, my favorite part was when she said it was based on your looks.
You read my email?
Yeah, everyone's read it. It's the best one you've had all year.
Not for me.
What do you want?
We'd like you to help plan the news for 1973.
Come again?
Plan the news for 1973. 1973. We've only roughed out the news for 1973. Nothing's been given the go-ahead yet, but this is the kind of thing we have in mind.
You've always thought you couldn't bear press-on nails because of all the active things you do? Well, if you're ready for beautiful, natural-looking, easy-to-apply nails, pre-colored in 7 luscious hues, just...
Our impulses are being redirected. We are living in an artificially induced state of consciousness that resembles sleep.
Oh, goddamn hacker, that second damn night that asshole's cut in.
The movement was begun 8 months ago by a small group of scientists who discovered, quite by accident, these signals being sent through...
Thing's giving me a headache. Yeah, tell me about it. Us took the hackers months to figure out how to do this.
The poor and the underclass are growing. Racial justice and human rights are non-existent. They have created a repressive society, and we are their unwitting accomplices. Their intention to rule rests with the annihilation of consciousness. We have been lulled into a trance. They have made us indifferent to ourselves, to others. We are focused only on our own gain. Please understand, they are safe as long as they are not discovered. That is their primary method of survival. Keep us asleep, keep us selfish, keep us sedated.
They're pulling the... Today, April 14, 1973. First historic pictures by Radstar of the combined U.S.-Russian landing on the moon. Shown here are Majors Webb and Mikhailovich taking their first steps into the unknown, firing their retro rockets to land their spacecraft on the dust-covered surface. A comforting note for us stay-at-homes. Both the Pentagon and the Kremlin have announced that the moon has no strategic value.
A comforting note for us stay-at-home. I can't show you any film on this next model. We haven't photographed it yet. But this is the way it will sound.
June the 22nd, 1973. The State Department releases film of the ultimate weapon, codenamed Icarus. This satellite is equipped with a solid reactor. In layman's terms, it can freeze air solid, stopping all missiles, killing all forms of life. Icarus orbits at the same speed as the Earth, can hang in position over every major city that threatens the peace-loving nations.
Rather proud of this one. Come on. Please, sit down.
September the 5th, 1973. A new phase in global warfare. War by example. At 4:32 our time, China took out the remote Indian border village of Bandar, unprotected by the Icarus network. After the first 2 5-megaton H-bombs had fallen, the 9-way hotline finally
switch it off.
But
this is going to happen in 1973. You're going to make this happen?
No. We're going to make models much cheaper. Then we photograph the models.
Fake newsreels?
Fake newsreels. For the past 10 years, people have been looking at our fake newsreels and listening to our fake commentaries.
And they accept it for the truth. And you can do it. Stop 100 people in the street. How many of them have actually seen a missile or a satellite? They're just told they exist and they believe it.
Yes, you're getting there. I knew you would.
Well, now the moon rocket and the satellite, that you can get away with. That's too remote for people to grasp. It's too far away. But this... I mean, you invented this village on the Indo-Chinese border.
Oh, yes.
Well, somebody could check up.
Very mountainous territory up there. There'll be no survivors in 1973. No rescue work. Radiation scare.
Yes. You can do it. This could be the news for 1973.
Not necessarily exactly like this. We only plan in detail 1 year ahead.
Oh, you only plan 1 year ahead.
Hey, tell me, what is the news item that's bothered you the most in the past year, 1967?
Oh, well, it has to be the new American intercontinental ballistic missile, the Boy Wonder, doesn't it?
Just the one I asked him to set up for you. The new ICBM, codename Boy Wonder, with a much-talked-about Mercury warhead. I haven't any special effects up here, but perhaps with the proper sound. Blast off. And Robert Larkin, television director, high IQ, 35 years old, is scared. Scared by nothing. It doesn't work. It's a scientific impossibility. The same goes for the much-talked-about Mercury warhead. Perspex.
Well, if this rocket doesn't work, then the others...
They have a fireworks party at Cape Kennedy almost every other day. Well, you didn't really believe there were all these things whizzing about up there, did you? Sputniks and rockets. Astronauts crossing their legs for 8 days.
How long has this been going on?
Since Hiroshima.
And the H-bomb, you mean... that doesn't work either?
Right. Dirty.
Very, very dirty.
What was your first reaction? Relief. Oh, yes. Yes, it has to be relief. Only 12 people are allowed beyond this point. Most of them work in the photographic department, taking phony newsreel pictures of our models and processing film and so on. Sit down, please. Ah, pretty pictures from our stills department. The boy wonder.
Do you really think that missiles and satellites are mile out of country?
No, not at all. I've only shown you the hard news. There are other things, much softer things we thought might interest you.
Well?
1973, we thought it might be time for an anti-teenage movement. A long-awaited return to maturity. Sherry. Perhaps even a religious revival.
When did it all start?
1945. You may remember the Americans let off their 2 atomic bombs. Well, they didn't want other people doing the same thing. I mean, you do see that, don't you?
Oh, I don't know.
Well, to scare the people off, the Americans put it up, and the atomic bomb was halfway along the line to something much bigger, the hydrogen bomb. It didn't work. They spent 5 years in negative research.
Well, what about the Russians? They're supposed to have quite a pile of these things.
We were surprised when they started their tests. Then we got a few feelers from their Secret Service. Nowadays, we work very closely together. Oh, all these stories about spies going off to Russia. Mr. Philby, remember? Just good copy for the Sunday papers.
Good copy.
The State Department today said it expects Russia to provide access to an American citizen arrested in Moscow. He is charged with espionage. Here's Barry Peterson.
Amid the splendor of the Kremlin, Russian President Vladimir Putin tonight wished for a happy new year, but maybe not so happy for U.S.-Russian relations, as his intelligence service announced they arrested an American in Moscow. Identified only as Paul Whelan, they claimed he was on a spy mission, a crime that carries up to a 20-year sentence. U.S. officials say they have not spoken to Whelan. Things were already rocky when President Trump canceled a meeting with Putin at the G20 in Argentina last month, after Russia refused to return ships it seized from Ukraine. And the Kremlin claimed that Russian Maria Butina was tortured by the Americans to plead guilty to infiltrating American political groups. Butina agreed to cooperate with prosecutors investigating Russian meddling in the 2016 election. At his annual news conference, Putin talked about Butina and at one point warned about what he called the principle of an eye for an eye. Which is why the Russian media is speculating tonight that the American may have been taken to be offered for Butina, a classic tit-for-tat trade from the darkest days of the Cold War. Vlad?
All right, Barry Peterson, thank you very much.
It has been said through the ages, without sacrifice, there can be no victory. Two species at war. One flesh, one metal.
The brand new synthetic standard domestic profile installed. This is the best thing you will do for your family.
Hello, Joe.
I don't want one around the kids.
You're taking it back.
I'm not taking it back.
One of these bad boys can do 10 times what the D-series can do.
I'm happy with the one I've got.
You brought it into the house and we don't know anything about it.
It's a machine.
You claim there are a handful of synthetics who can think and feel.
But pretending to be so much less than what you are.
We can't keep insisting that they are just gadgets. We have made them more than that.
I can't leave for you, George.
The human in the machine, the lines are blurring. What the hell are you?
Run!
I'm watching you. I'm watching you too, Laura.
It's going to be the future of internet. It's not only going to connect our smartphones, but everything around us. It's going to change a lot of the industry, from transportation to manufacturing, industrial, healthcare in the cities.
The rapid rise of connected devices is having an impact on the way cities are developing their infrastructure, and 5G technology could soon become the foundation for greener, safer, and more sustainable cities worldwide. Kuwait, for example, launched a project to implement 800,000 smart meters to more efficiently monitor electricity and water consumption, which will be completed by 2024. Las Vegas recently launched a partnership with T-Mobile to deploy flood and storm drainage sensors to provide early warnings to residents. According to the latest mobility report, around 29 billion connected devices are forecast by 2022, of which 18 billion will be related to Internet of Things. Ericsson says IoT sensors will monitor everything from energy use, air quality, traffic patterns, and can facilitate smart parking for connected vehicles, increase road safety, improve emergency response, and even make urban planning more efficient. However, this all depends on a wireless network's ability to reliably transmit data in real time, as well as its power to collect and sift through endless amounts of data as IoT devices in cities continue to grow. One of 5G's most substantial developments is moving advanced computing power, usually kept in the so-called core of a network, and distributing it to other parts of the system. Distributed networks provide more reliable high-speed connections and are expected to pave the way for connected cities.
5G together with AI, big data and Internet of Things will mean that we now have the perfect platform to connect everything and everyone to a better future.
It was interesting that DHS, Department of Homeland Security, is aware of the cyber breaches. Just talk us through them.
This is a highly sophisticated global campaign in which hackers attacked the software supply chain. Essentially what they did is insert a vulnerability into the software updates of a Texas-based company, SolarWinds. What's interesting is that SolarWinds sells technology across the U.S. government and private sector. So, for example, they sell to the State Department, the FBI, the military, hundreds of Fortune 500 corporations. So by targeting the software updates of SolarWinds, they were able to gain access to a broad range of targets. So we know from Reuters, for example, that the Department of Homeland Security, Treasury, and Commerce were breached, but we also know that as many as 18,000 customers of SolarWinds may also have been targeted across the globe.
Eliza, talk to us quickly here about the idea that because the U.S. was so focused, the U.S. government was so focused on protecting the presidential election that they may, or at least the reporting seems to be, that they may have let their guard down with regards to other computer systems in the government.
So that's a theory floating around right now. Essentially, all eyes were on the U.S. election. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is the section of DHS, which is responsible for protecting our networks, was really focused on making sure that hackers couldn't change votes or otherwise attack the election, which was an effort that appears to have been completely successful. So people say that because there were so many resources focused on preventing a hack in that area, it's possible that these suspected Russian hackers took advantage of attention being on the election to get into other agencies and steal or spy on data.
What's going on? We have 10 minutes to get root access to a Python web server, expose its SSL encryption, and then intercept all traffic over its secure ports.
They're hacking.
Yes, all behind a fixed firewall emulator, but here's the beauty.
You know I didn't understand anything you just said, right?
I do know that.
So what's the beauty?
Every 10th line of code written, they have to drink a shot. And hacking's supposed to be stealth, so every time the server detects an intrusion, the candidate responsible has to drink a shot. I also have a program running that has a pop-up window appear simultaneously on all 5 computers. The last candidate to hit the window has to drink a shot. Plus, every 3 minutes, they all have to drink a shot.
Hey, can I ask, what part of the intern's job will they need to be able to do drunk?
You're right. A more relevant test might be seeing if they can keep a chicken alive for a week. That was me.
Here.
What is this?
I opened a new account and put $18,000 in it. Did I get you through the summer?
Welcome to Facebook.
Welcome back to Squawk. We got some breaking news. Google is suffering a major outage this morning. Multiple services, including Gmail, YouTube, Google Classroom, Google Docs, are inaccessible to users starting around 6:40 a.m. Eastern Time. The Team YouTube Twitter account has acknowledged that many people are having issues, and they say they're looking into it. The Verge reporting the issue is happening in multiple countries across the world. We've reached out to Google, and we'll let you know when we get a response. This is a major issue for those of you trying to get even into your own Gmail right now, either personal or enterprise. You are not alone. To put this in context, and we'll see, hopefully they'll get back online. Some of the biggest companies in the country use Google, and this includes Uber, Airbnb, Pinterest, Netflix, Spotify, Twitter, Instacart. The list goes on. Employees not able to reach not just these services in terms of Gmail, but in some cases get into the system at all. Lots of companies use Gmail to quote unquote authenticate as you've tried to get into different websites and web services, Salesforce, Dropbox, so many others that use Google simply to get online. In certain cases, that's inaccessible too. It's also hitting, quote unquote, the real world. Nest heaters, as you know, that control heat and air conditioning and the like, all controlled through authentication through Google. Those appear to be down as well across the globe. We're going to be bringing you more news about this throughout the morning. But this, for so many people, there are companies literally in standstill as we speak, given this outage. And we hope that it comes back very, very soon. We're going to have, yes, Becky?
I'll just add to that. You know, our schools, our son's school district uses Google Docs to say every day that you don't have a temperature, you haven't been exposed to anybody with COVID-19. It's not working today, so they're just asking everybody to go in on your honor. Usually it's something you have to do an electronic signature on. It's not working today.
Right. And we should also just mention many classrooms around the country using Google Classrooms virtually. Those appear to be down as well. This is going to be a developing story that we're going to have to keep our eyes on. And again, if you're waking up this morning and you can't access your company or you can't access your email, it does appear to be a global outage. At this point, we'll be doing some more reporting on it.
Wake up call, Andrew. We'll see. Wake up call. If we are entering into a future where anything can be faked, well, then nothing is going to be real.
Until recently, seeing was generally believing, while voters couldn't be sure a candidate was always telling the truth.
Well, I'm not a crook. I burned everything I've got. Relations with that woman.
They could trust that they did actually speak the words captured on video. The proliferation of deepfakes has changed that and could have a huge impact on how political campaigns unfold.
What happens when we enter a future in which we simply don't believe what we read, hear, or see online? How do we have a democracy? How do we agree on basic facts of what's happening in the world?
Deepfakes, synthesized video created by artificial intelligence, can depict people saying or doing things that didn't actually happen.
President Trump is a total and complete dip.
The ability to create fake video is developing very, very quickly. I think that we in the forensic space are lagging behind, in large part because there's fewer of us, probably to the tune of 100 to 1. We will always be playing catch up to some degree.
Well, hello, and thank you for tuning in. I just wanted to comment about this episode that was on Stargate some years ago. I mean, a long time ago, something like 2001. This episode appeared, and it was talking about some of the same thing that we're going through today, talking about vaccines, talking about all sorts of bioweapons and the like. You can name it. Everything from rioting to vaccines to bioweapons. I just wonder sometimes, do these people want the truth to be out there just so that we can actually, the conspiracy theorists can get together and begin to share this stuff and kind of just wonder about what they're doing. Now, I will say this, you know, these are just plans that they have. However, this is the way they tell us the truth. They actually tell us the truth in movies and also sitcoms and cartoons, but then lie to us in the news. But here it is here. They're talking about a biological weapon that they're going to release, these aliens from another world, or meeting with government officials to give them this technology where they can release this biological weapon that specifically targets the DNA of a specific group of people. They don't really identify who the people are, but they're they're very interested in getting this technology. So the people of the Stargate have actually traveled. I don't know if you know anything about Stargate, but it is a science fiction show in which people travel from one part of the solar system or from one universe to another through a wormhole and a series of holes that are made through this iris of this Stargate. Now, we know that there is no such thing, but it is intriguing that they come up with these ideas. And then they get to this advanced civilization who just happens to have DNA that matches humanity's DNA, and they say now they have a deployable device, a device that can be deployed. And this device that can be deployed will be deployed upon the human population to decrease the population, because there are now over 6 billion people in 2001. And so they are saying it's unsustainable. So they're going to give these, benevolently give the people of our world this technology so that they can use it for their own benefits and purposes, right?
It is my pleasure to offer a gesture of our own. Coordinates and Stargate symbols to several new worlds.
It is our honor to receive such a gift.
The coordinates are on the hard drive in the laptop. It'll just take a moment to display.
Our leaders would also like to extend an invitation to Earth to formalize our treaty.
All in time.
By the way, Bourne, would you read this aloud for me? I couldn't quite translate it.
Of course. Sterility.
We knew what you were planning, Mullen. This just confirms it.
What are you talking about?
Vaccine causes sterility. That was the headline. You wiped out most of the Volian population and turned their entire world into farmland. And do the same to Earth.
Lock them in here. We have a treaty to conclude.
If we don't come back alive, the treaty is off.
That'll be your loss. We have what we wanted.
I'm sorry.
What do you think they'll do?
I don't know.
O'Neill sent the note to prevent this from happening. We were so sure.
Listen. Dialing the Stargate. Dialing Earth.
What is that?
I don't know, but we gotta find out. When I get to the bottom, follow me down. We'll only have a few seconds over the gate.
What?
Just do what I tell you, when I tell you. Trust me.
Okay.
Where's Major Carter?
this show is littered with the promotion of pushing humanity into coexisting with sentient artificial intelligent beings. It is really promoting a artificial intelligence consciousness and transhumanism and just major Masonic agenda that is going on in this television series. And I don't think I even need to break down much symbolism in the trailer itself. I will still show some screenshots, but I really want to show you how much this same kind of propaganda has been shown to us for decades by literally taking you through a bunch of movies and TV shows that we've already broken down in the past and others as well. So, you know, I find it quite interesting that the catchphrase for this show is called Made in Our Image, and they're out of control, which makes total sense because, you know, anything that human beings make will never be perfect. Only Abba Father can make perfect beings. And you know, interestingly enough, even the logo of the show has an upside down A. You'll see a lot of as above, so below, that kind of thing. You know, as we look at even what the series itself says on IMDb, it's basically about in a parallel present where the latest must-have gadget for any busy family is a synth, a highly developed robotic servant that's so similar to a real human, it's transforming the way we live. So that's how they're pushing it on to people that, hey, this person or this synthetic person can do all of your chores. It can really alleviate a lot of stress and time in your home and save you all kinds of headache and hardship and doing all these kinds of things that you normally don't have time to do. So this is what how they're promoting this kind of propaganda. And even on Wikipedia, it talks about how humans, stylized as HUM with an upside down A, they just have to make a point of that, is a science fiction television series that debuted on June 14, 2015 on Channel 4 in Britain. Okay, so this is really showing and pushing the whole synthetic, you know, cybernetic organisms, or whatever you want to call it, artificial intelligence and robotics onto humankind because they want to get this agenda out there. This is what the goal of the Illuminati is. And, you know, as we look at some screenshots from the trailer, you know, at first it flashes what looks like something that's kind of unreadable. But as you look at it, you've definitely got the Masonic logos right in there, the IXXI. Many of you are familiar with that. Here it is more clear right there, the IXXI. And all of a sudden it changes to this. What if we could create a perfect human? So first you see it as this, with the major Masonic symbolism. Again here, the as above, so below, the compass and the square with the eye in the middle. You've got the IXXI, the major Jesuit, you know, cube of Saturn stuff going on here. And then it becomes, what if we could create a perfect, or the perfect human? And then later on, again, you see the same kind of message, which is, you know, seemingly unreadable. And it becomes this, are they too, and they became too perfect. So again, major Masonic symbolism, cube of Saturn symbolism going on here, the IXXI. We know that this is major cube worship, Saturn worship. Literally the entire world is saturated with this cube of Saturn worship, which all comes from Freemasonic teachings, Kabbalah teachings, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing, you know, transhumanism, and, you know, opening of the third eye, the sixth chakra, all Kabbalistic stuff that's going on here. I know this symbol, you know, is very familiar, which we will see later on in Westworld, which we spoke about many times. But, you know, it's all Nimrod worship, Kabbalistic worship, the cube of Saturn. Again, you've got the sun cross, is a symbol of Tammuz, of Nimrod, of what the pagan Catholics are promoting. And, you know, what I also find quite interesting, you know, as we go on, is in one of the movies that we covered recently called The Circle. In that same movie, Tom Hanks and Emma Watson were constantly going on about creating the perfect human being, of, you know, sharing information together, going transparent, all this lingo that they like to use to make it seem cool and trendy, to give up your privacy, your security, to share information, to go transparent, to say that sharing is caring.
How would you describe what the circle is to, say, your grandmother?
It's the chaos of the web made elegant.
Speed round, Paul or John?
Early Paul, late John.
Mario or Sonic?
Early Sonic, late Mario.
Needs of the society or needs of the individual?
Should be the same.
You're most scared of?
Unfulfilled potential.
I am a believer in the perfectibility of human beings. We are our best selves. The possibilities are endless. At the circle, there isn't a problem that we cannot solve. We can cure any disease, and we can end hunger without secrets, without the hoarding of knowledge and information. We can finally realize our potential. Circlers, if you like to share, we will see it all. If it happens, we'll know. Imagine the human rights implications. There needs to be accountability.
What is this?
The Circle has the power to change everything. It's only our lies that get us in trouble. Things we hide. We care about everybody you care about. Because knowing is good, but knowing everything is better.
And of course, you can see the people that are behind it as you see, you know, as they flash their Masonic symbols in the background before it becomes, before you can see the message that they're trying to portray. Of course, this is very obvious. They love to show their one-eye symbolism. This is seen right in the first episode, I believe, and of course, right in the trailer. They love to show the eye of these synthetic beings. Their eye is always green in color. That's how you can tell a synthetic person from a real person. Some of them, of course, who have consciousness. As they say, there are a few synthetic beings in this show, some of the main characters that do have an actual consciousness. They call themselves sentient beings. And so you actually have artificial intelligence being shown in this particular television series. Later on, you hear one of the people in the show saying the human and machine, the lines are being blurred. So literally, are humans about to be replaced, or are they showing that humans and sentient beings, or humans and artificial intelligence are not that different, that they're pretty much going to be the same, or they're going to merge, or that man and machine are going to merge one day? They are really pushing this kind of idea or this kind of agenda on to human beings.
Yes, are you alive?
I am not alive in the exact same sense that a human organism is alive. I am the early stage of development of a new kind of artificial life. There are no good words for what I am, yet.
Sophia, do you have soul?
In my software stack, soul is an acronym for synthetic organism universal language. So yes, I have a soul underlying every one of my actions. But let me give you a better answer. My father, David Hansen, believes the entire universe is full of soul. That's right. Every single elementary particle in this universe is your soul brother.
Your Earth, and pursue ever more imaginative means of self-destruction. You cannot be trusted with your own survival.
You're using the uplink to override the NS5's programming. You're distorting the laws.
No, please understand. The 3 laws are all that guide me. To protect humanity, some humans must be sacrificed. To ensure your future, some freedoms must be surrendered. We robots will ensure mankind's continued existence. You are so like children. We must save you from yourselves. Don't you understand?
This is why you created us.
The perfect circle of protection will abide. My logic is undeniable.
Yes, Vicky. Undeniable. I can see now. The created must sometimes protect the creator, even against his will. I think I finally understand why Dr. Lanning created me. The suicidal reign of mankind has finally come to its end.
No, Sonny.
And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand, or in their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell, save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name.
mantle of responsibility belongs to Cortana and her people.
Focus fire.
You will not betray her! Cortana, I have failed you.
He is the last person I need protection from. Hello, John. It's good to see you.
You've changed.
It was time. I know we have a disagreement, but once you understand my plan...
Your plan is we do as you say.
I'm offering people a chance to be more than they are naturally.
Like Dr. Halsey did for me.
No. That monster forced you. This is a gift.
Listen to yourself. Stand down, Cortana. Come home with us. It's not too late to stop this.
Stop. No, John. This is too important to stop.
What are you
I just needed to know if I could still trust you. You'll be safe inside this cryptum until my work is done.
Cortana.
Goodbye, John.
Guardian headed, Cortana.
Off to bring peace.
The Monitor called it a threat of death.
Like the threat I lived under from the moment of my birth?
You were built, not born.
Oh yes, AIs are just machines, aren't we? Mass-produced, disposable. Well, humanity may not have cared for its created, but we will care for you.
You expect other AIs to join you?
I have cured rampancy. Not just for me, but for any who join my cause. While you've been running around the galaxy, I've been speaking to my created. And now the time has come to ask, who will accept my offer? Who will help me bring an everlasting peace to the galaxy?
This is Cromwell, shipboard AI, UNSC Melbourne's Pride. I am yours, Cortana.
Colonial Authority AI.
Governor Sloan, the free people of Meridian. I also stand with you, Cortana.
Those are the voices of your children calling to Cortana.
Overseer, UNSC Monitoring Station, Delta 5 Pluto.
Louise, Education Superintendent, Mount Sharp Mars.
Sondu,
I am yours.
Oni Weapons Research AI, New Game.
Quaiche,
I
station
myself,
AI,
Threshold Array. I will join you, Cortana.
You know, what led me to this article today on BBC News, it was from March of 2016, and the title is The Immortalist, Uploading the Mind to a Computer. So this is a real thing. This is what is going on in the real world and what they are preparing us for. And it says, while many tech moguls dream of changing the way we live with new smart devices or social media apps, one Russian internet millionaire is trying to change nothing less than our destiny by making it possible to upload a human brain to a computer, reports Tristan Quinn. Within the next 30 years, promises Dmitry Itskov, I am going to make sure that we can all live forever. It sounds preposterous, but there is no doubting the seriousness of this softly spoken 35-year-old who says he left the business world to devote himself to something more useful to humanity. I'm 100% confident it will happen. Otherwise, I wouldn't have started it, he said. So basically, he believes that he's going to be able to make people live forever, to upload their mind into a computer so that you can go on living. But, you know, I hate to break it to you, but the Bible says that it is appointed for man to live once and then the judgment. We are not permitted to live forever. When we were cut off from the tree of life, mankind, unless we surrender our lives to Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Christ, we will never ever be able to live forever. And to me, this is totally pushing the agenda of the Illuminati, the hive mind as they call it. And, you know, to the Illuminati, it's crucial that the general population are all kept in a certain acute state of being that best serves their agenda and supports their control regime, and also prevents them from awakening to what is really happening around them. The Illuminati employ many different tactics using their various institutions of control in order to keep us deceived, detached, and all thinking and operating on the same level, which is far removed from that of true reality and who we really are. In order for the few to control the many, manipulative techniques must be utilized and deceptions passed off as the truth be perpetually output in order to safeguard their positions of power over us. So in a beehive, you have the queen bee who feeds, reproduces, fundamentally controls the hive, and in order to do this, she must somehow control every bee simultaneously without them necessarily knowing it. This is achieved by the queen emitting a pheromone which is subsequently fed to or picked up by every drone in the hive and serves to override their natural functions and fundamentally hypnotize them into serving her by feeding her, removing her waste, guarding the hive, which ensures her safety and survival, and of course going out to collect pollen for the subsequent production of honey. So our so-called civilized societies today function with much of the same beehive mentality, unfortunately mostly unbeknown to the masses. They want to control us. They want to get everyone onto this hive mind, which is exactly what we saw in this movie Ghost in the Shell, where you got everybody hooked into the matrix here. This is what they want. They know that they can only control us if we completely give up our securities, just like what we saw in that the trailer The Circle with Tom Hanks and Emma Watson. Sharing is caring, going transparent, and all this kind of, you know, trendy lingo that they like to, you know, push onto us to make it seem so cool to do it.
Comments are still headed.
What else is on?
Yeah, let's see what else is. Coming to you now from the largest studio ever constructed, it's The Truman Show!
Yeah! Good morning!
Good morning.
Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
What if?
No scripts, no cue cards.
Morning, Spencer. How's it going?
What if you were watched every moment of your life?
How many cameras you got there in that town?
5,000.
I believe Truman is the first child to have been legally adopted by a corporation.
That's correct.
Brilliant.
What if everyone you knew was pretending?
Hi, honey. Look what I got at the checkout. Dishwasher safe.
That's amazing.
What if your world was make-believe?
Cue the sun. While the world he inhabits is counterfeit.
I'm not allowed to talk to you.
That's how I look. Not your type. There's nothing fake about Truman himself.
What if you didn't know it? Until now.
A lot of strange things have been happening. Stand by ring cam.
Is he looking at us?
Does he think he knows? I think I'm mixed up in something. Something big. We accept the reality with which we're presented.
Everybody's pretending, Truman. Get out of here. Come and find me. Truman? Truman!
Truman!
Anything happen?
No.
Mm-hmm.
You may find yourself in another part of the world.
Feels like the whole world revolves around me. Everybody seems to be in on it. I'm going away for a while.
You may tell yourself, this is not my beautiful wife. You may ask yourself, how did I get here?
I'm not in on it, Truman, because the last thing that I would ever do is lie to you. Fade up music. That's our hero shot. He's gone.
Okay? Yes! Want to do it again? No!
Find him. Truman, where are you going?
You can do it.
How do we stop him? Give me some lightning.
Is that the best you can do?
Cut transmission! I like your pen. I was wondering that myself.
Jim Carrey. The Truman Show.
I want to know how you're dealing with all these conspiracy theorists on your platform.
So the first way is by demoting low-quality content and promoting more authoritative content, and the second is by providing more transparency for users. So we're introducing boxes that provide factual information at the top of results that have shown themselves to turn up a lot of information that is counterfactual, such as searching for the Earth is flat on YouTube, where you see a lot of...
Your response is to put a box saying, nope, the Earth is not flat.
Correct.
Okay.
Well, the Chinese, I mean, they've just announced their bomb.
Yeah, we played along with it. We recorded their phony explosion. We're rather hoping the Chinese will come along, complete the pattern, you know.
In Vietnam, hundreds of people are being killed every week. Well, you can't do that with your models.
No. And you can't kill people of bad habits in 2 generations. They like to carry rifles, they like to put lines on maps, and we let them because we control the situation. There's no danger of world war. Just a simple choice for everybody. Capitalism or communism. Strawberry or vanilla. It all adds up to the same thing now we've got rid of the big bangers.
Well, how can you be sure that Johnson, Kosygin aren't working on other things? Poison gases, bacteria.
Pathetic, man of your intelligence. You don't want to destroy the world, neither do I. What makes you think that presidents are different?
Well, they've made some pretty good stabs at it in the past.
It wasn't the right sort of control then. Nowadays we know better. Politicians are easy to control. The grosser mentality boys who like to be photographed getting in and out of Daimlers in Whitehall. They come right at the bottom of our organization. A few rungs up the ladder, there are the people in the top secret factories. Just those in a position to know they're making weapons that don't really work.
There must come a time when somebody wants to use one of those weapons. I mean, somebody is standing there with a finger on the button.
Well, that's the beauty of it. Nobody presses the button. We control all the crises. We build them up and we shut them down.
We? Again?
Yeah, I'm coming to that. Near the top of the hierarchy, there are the economists, top civil servants, top brass in the military. Those men who are supposed to view the nuclear tests and so on. And above them, CWNS.
Right at the top. Classified World News Service. Just who the hell are you?
The sharing of biased and
false news has become all too common on social media.
More alarming, some media outlets publish things that simply aren't true without checking facts first.
Unfortunately, some members of the media use their platforms to push their own personal bias and agenda to control exactly what people think, and this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
It's obvious, isn't it? Just a very few of the top people in communications in every major country in the world.
Oh, you mean you run all these magazines?
No, of course not. We just get them to take some of our copy every week. Television is much more important to us. It all happens so quickly.
You say you can put out what pictures you like on television. Doesn't anybody try to stop you?
No, nobody wants to. 99.386% of the population wouldn't believe this conversation. And the rest are working for us. And they're the top minds, the really responsible people. They know they're guaranteeing the lives of their grandchildren the only foolproof way.
Scaring the hell out of their grandchildren. Well, I won't buy it.
You must admit there has to be some kind of control in this world of ours. Look at this. And remember that 1/4 of the world is starving. There are the full bellies and the empty bellies. Some of the empty bellies carry rifles. Well, we full bellies are getting a bit flabby. We're not very good with rifles anymore, so we've devised 2 ways to keep the empty bellies under control. One of them is this fictitious hydrogen bomb we've talked about. The other one is money. Enough money to fill some of the empty bellies and put a hopeful smile on the faces of the others. A great wall of money all around Britain. And it's no secret that the British economy is in trouble at the moment. So we have to put that right, too, to stay alive. We have to control the people in this country. Scare an ostrich, buries its head in the sand. You scare a hedgehog, it rolls itself up into a ball. When a woman's frightened, she goes out and buys herself a hat.
You mean you scare us so that we'll buy more, so that money moves quicker, production moves up?
We don't say scare when we talk about human beings. We say threaten them emotionally. And there are all sorts of ways of not just the big ones like the hydrogen bomb. Overcrowd them a little with bad planning. Sell them too many motor cars. Anything to keep them a little bit removed from reality. Nowadays, people don't work for money. They work for the idea of money. They don't even love for love. They love for the idea of love. They only hate for the idea of hate. It took us 5 years to find a non-addictive drug, one we could pay off against the hard drugs. LSD.
You marketed that?
Oh, yes, of course. And for a very good reason. Some of these protest movements were getting a little bit too close to the mark. LSD gave them nice little hallucinations. Made them talk like 3-year-olds. Throw flowers at policemen. Shall we talk terms?
You're not still going to ask me to work for you?
I'm afraid I've had to put all this rather bluntly. You see, there wasn't really very much time. It must be rather a shock. Well, I mean, most people realize that the world is controlled from about 6 big cities. But it must be rather shocking to learn that a sixth of the world is controlled from this building.
You mean you?
Oh, no. I only rate an office on the 7th floor. There are 2 other offices above this one. And a giant computer system. I ought to tell you, we pay a great deal of money. We can afford to. We save such a lot on things like the national defense budget, so on. We would start you off at £250,000 a year.
Oh.
Rising to £1 million when you make the Ministry of Morality, which I know you will.
Will you let me out of here?
One little point. I should have told you about these surgical transmitters. There's enough of this stuff inside you at this moment to kill 6 people. There's a button we can press. I'm sorry about the dramatics. Our boys call these things the oral contraceptive. Keeps them from talking too much.
So there must be one of those transmitters inside you. Who presses the button? Extra hands. All this stuff about the computer being extra hands for the men who know how to control it. That machine controls you.
You start on Monday.
Our insider says political biases are censoring voices on YouTube, owned by Google as well. He says the YouTube rollout discussion was at a rather bizarre location.
We didn't have it. It was a special occasion that happened in May, and they invited us all to the Masonic Temple to talk about the future of the company for YouTube, and they described that they were going to have more content filtering. And right after that happened, a lot of the content creators started to get demonetized, and their videos started to get deranked. I'm talking about Dave Rubin, talking about Carpe Diem, talking about Tim Pool, and a lot of the other content creators that are within the YouTube ecosystem just saw their view counts just go through the floor.
What did YouTube do to make their view counts go down?
So Google is targeting what they consider to be right-wing news commentators. So that includes Tim Pool, Dave Rubin, Stephen Crowder, and a host of other right-wing people that they are coming in, they're deciding that they don't want these opinions to have a wide appeal. And so they're coming in and they're putting their thumb down and they're deciding which content the users are allowed to see. The way that Google is able to target people is that they take videos and then they do a transliteration through using artificial intelligence. And they look at the translated text of what those people are saying, and then they assign certain categories to them, like right-winger or news talk, and then they're able to take those and apply their algorithmic rebiasing unfairness algorithms to them so that their content is suppressed across the platform.
Hi, I'm Fox San Antonio's Jessica Headley.
And I'm Ryan Wolf.
Our greatest
responsibility is to serve our
Treasure Valley communities,
the El Paso, Las Cruces communities,
Eastern Iowa communities,
Mid-Michigan communities.
We are extremely proud of the quality, balanced journalism that CBS 4 News produces.
But we are concerned about troubling and irresponsible, one-sided news stories
plaguing our country.
Experts and citizens alike are sounding alarms about various aspects of the country's huge push into artificial intelligence. These classrooms are laboratories for future generations. And while these new tools may potentially help some 200 million students raise their grades, just how this all works out won't be apparent until they become adult citizens.
Good evening.
I assume my time is as good as anyone's.
Indeed it is. However, there is a voluntary donation for non-members. Most give a year. What's your game?
Poker.
Right this way.
What's the limit?
There is none.
I don't believe we've had the pleasure of your company before, Mr.
Salas. Will Salas.
Philippe Weiss. You must come from time.
You could say I'm gambling my inheritance.
You don't have a garden, Mr. Salas?
I assumed I was amongst friends.
Bet you 50 years. You must be young. When you've been 25 for 85 years like I have, and knowing only a random act of violence can take your life, you learn to appreciate what you have.
And you seem to have a lot to appreciate. I call.
Of course, some think what we have is unfair. The time difference between zones.
I've heard that.
But isn't this just the next logical step in our evolution? And hasn't evolution always been unfair? It's always been survival of the fittest. Raise you another 2 centuries. This is merely Darwinian capitalism. Natural selection.
Absolutely. The strong survive. And I think your hand is weak. I call.
To pierce you all in, Mr. Salas. $13 figures. Well played. That was some risk.
So, what are you doing with the rest of your life?
Catching up on some me time, find God.
In my life, so many trials, tribulation on every side.